everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Comma Speaks. And today, Comma Speaks with Jaquet Dumas. Jaquet is having a great event on Saturday, October 18th, called Shatter, and we're going to talk further about her event and how this can help you. Uh-oh, in the middle of my phone ringing. Sorry about that, but thank you, Jaquet, for being on my show. I really appreciate you.
Well, thank you for having me.
Well, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Okay. My name is Jaquet Dumas, and my husband and I co-pastor Kingdom Culture, which is a multi-site church. We have two campuses in the Inland Empire and one in LA County. We've been doing this for a few years now. As a profession, I am an educator. I've been an educator for about 11 years. And just a little bit about kind of my background, I've always felt pulled in a lot of different directions. And so having a career, being a mom, being a wife, being a pastor, and also I'm currently a PhD student. And so with all of these things on my plate, I just really found that I would encounter people, and while they meant well, they would say some pretty discouraging things about all of the endeavors that I was, kind of involved in. And so out of that, I really realized that it wasn't anything personal that they were trying to be negative or down me at all, but just a sense that as a society, we have put limits on people. We put limits on moms, we put limits on wives, we put limits on students, we put limits on teachers and what the different things that you can accomplish based on who you are and what you're doing. And so Shatter has been birthed out of the question that I'm asked all the time, which is, how do you do it all? And so because I get asked that question all the time, I really started to think about what it is that I was doing to do it all. And so Shatter is all about destroying the limits that life has tried to put on you and that you have perceived and maybe that you've tried to put on yourself, but just really letting those limits go and realizing that there are no boundaries in what God has called us to do.
Wow, you know what? Your story just sounds a little similar to mine, except you have such a greater responsibility because you have your family at home and then you have your spiritual family because you're looked upon as mom in the spiritual world because you're in the church, and you guys have more than one church. So that is huge. I'm really excited about what you're doing because we have some similar things, and people ask me the same thing. How do I juggle it all? So this event on Saturday, what are some things that we are to expect on Saturday?
Well, a little bit about me. I love to throw parties, but I don't just like to throw a party. I like for every event to be an experience. And so
Okay.
the moment that you arrive to the registration table and you check in, there's going to be an experience that we have put together that's themed all around you having a positive self-image of yourself. And so there are a couple of little trinkets, a few surprises, some activities. The day is broken up into workshops because as a teacher, I know how hard it is to just sit still and to stay engaged. And so we've really designed it to be like an exhilarating day with a lot of exciting things through it. So we have workshops. We'll be having a morning session, and then the day is divided into workshops geared towards healthy body, healthy mind, and a healthy spirit. Walgreens is going to be partnering with us on that day. You know, their slogan is "Be Well," and
Yes.
so we're really excited that they're one of our sponsors, and they just have a heart for wellness. The funny thing is, I've spoken to all of my guests for Saturday, and they all say the same thing. They start the conversation by saying, "I'm so excited," and then we end the conversation by saying, "I'm so excited." And
Which
so
is good.
the excitement is definitely in the air, and you can look forward to an experience. You can look forward into walking into a room thinking that you know certain things about yourself, but walking out of that room realizing that there's so much more and that you can really do it all.
Yes. Well, question. So being in the church, one thing I've been talking about the last couple of months, and actually I talked about it this morning on my show. I'm doing a show on domestic violence every morning for about 10 minutes where I talk about domestic violence and just give little tips because that was something that I had been through. Mentally, I didn't realize how mentally it drained me and how much it took away from me over the last few years. Is that something you guys are going to be discussing? Is the mental health that comes along with some of the scenarios, such as domestic violence, or maybe some other things that people have dealt with growing up, or people dealing with that now? Are those some topics?
We definitely are going to delve into that. That workshop is actually going to be led by Nicole Arcadia. She's
Okay.
actually the founder of Cucamonga Counseling right here in Rancho Cucamonga. And the exciting thing about Nicole is that she is a believer. And so she realizes that side of it. But one thing that I found in the church, and it may be audacious of me to say, but in the Black church, that we are not willing to talk about mental wellness or even the struggles that we may have. It's always been something as like an embarrassment, or that, if you know Jesus, then you don't have to deal with that. But I feel like there's a natural side of it that to marry with the spiritual side. And together is where that wholeness comes from. And so
Yeah.
everything can't be prayed away, everything can't be cast out. There are some natural things that we need to go through. And so whether it's domestic violence, whether it's sexual abuse, even if it's just like this struggle in your mind where, people say, you hear voices, but we do hear voices. And so it's like, how do we deal with those different things? And so Nicole is going to delve into a lot of those battles that we fight in our mind. Yeah.
Oh, that is wonderful. This morning, that's what I was talking about. I had put a call out to the churches. I said, anybody that's watching this, if you're not doing something about mental health, you should, because we need it. And you're absolutely right. I just got off the phone with someone and I said, we have this tendency in the church, in the Black churches, to say we're going to pray things away. But I believe that the Lord has put counselors, and he told us to go to counselors, and he put people on this earth in order for us to be well. And we have to have something what you're doing. So my hat's off to you. I think this is absolutely wonderful what you're doing. Now, are you also getting to the health, the diet, some of the things that we deal with? As myself, I am an entrepreneur. I sell real estate. I do my talk show. I'm a director of a gospel play. I do all these different things, but health wise, you're so quick to be on the run to pick up McDonald's or pick up something that's unhealthy. Is that something that's talked about to keep your body cleansed so that while you're moving around, you're not so drained, and you can stay healthy and last a little longer?
Absolutely. My husband refers to it as the Black feature syndrome, but just kind of this idea that being round and in ministry go together.
Mhm.
But the workshop on body wellness is actually going to be geared towards the women, but that's what's hosted by Walgreens, and so they're going to do that section. And so not only are they going to speak about like nutrition, but also making sure that you keep up with your body, getting your regular checkups, how to do some of those self-checks, the things that we can really do at home. I think that if we are given one temple, and we really do believe that we encompass the Spirit and that the Lord lives in us, I think that we need to do a lot better with His house. And so definitely we'll be talking about that. And also afterwards, we'll be doing a wellness fair. And during the wellness fair, Walgreens is actually going to provide some services. We actually have some vendors that are going to be providing their products. And so we have a lady that's coming, and she has natural hair products, body products, and things like this to kind of just make sure that we're well balanced. And so we as women can sometimes take care of our children, we take care of our husband, and we just put on the pounds, or we let illness come on us, and before we know it, then we're not able to do the things that we've been called to do, really with the tenacity that we should be doing them. And so we definitely are going to talk about body wellness. I have made a recent commitment to get back into the gym. And so I'm really excited about that. But it's not even just about working out. It really is about the mindset to be healthy. Because I think sometimes also we get into this thing of trying to look good.
Yeah.
And that's why we want the body wellness. But it's
Mhm.
more than that. And so we're going to get into the psyche behind it too.
Now, is this something that, as being in the ministry, where you feel like you've been wanting to do something like this, or is this something recent where you've seen that there needs to be a change within, our women?
I think it's been over time. And so originally when we started Kingdom Culture, We are very focused on building and growing, as any new church really is. But in having more conversations, one of the things that we focus on in our church is really doing life together. So in the conversations that I was having with different women, I would find that, it's extended to like 1 hour, 2 hour conversations. And even at the end, I'm like, well, let's talk again because there's so many things that we're not having conversations about. And, I love the local church. I'm a pastor of the local church, but I think that we need so much more than just Sunday morning. I think we need to create different atmospheres to have more broad conversations. And we as women need to come together and really be built up, support each other, and make sure that we're not even being part of this shifty self-image that we're even imposing on each other. Yeah.
Yes, yes, I absolutely love that. We definitely need change. I was watching uh, this reality TV show yesterday, and all I did was shake my head. I said I probably won't be watching it again. And it saddened me that we have all these beautiful women out there with all this talent, and they kind of give themselves in the wrong sense, not even understanding or knowing their worth. And they'll do just about anything. I seen one lady, she looks like she got everything done. She had breast implants, her butt was implanted, her nose, her cheekbones. When you see the different pictures, you see what she did, her lips. And I say, sometimes if we learn to love who we are and fix up who we are, then it makes a huge difference. But we do so much just to get somebody else's approval. What are your thoughts on that?
I personally feel that beauty is it's what you make it. It's how you define it. Um, Obviously, as a teenager, I was reading the 17 magazine and
Yes.
all these different things, and even now, I find myself picking up these magazines and reading these quizzes. But I think that we need to realize that, kind of like we say, old things have passed away. We need to realize that once we become Christians and we're the ones who want to look like Christ, it has so little to do with this outside body. And if you can look in the mirror and you can smile at where you are, then that's a great place to be in. If you can know that you are going after God's heart, then that's beauty. That's what beautiful is. And this new conversation about natural hair, I always think it's really interesting because we now have taken this natural hair trend,
Mhm.
and now there's the good natural hair and there's the bad natural hair.
Oh,
And
a new one.
so it's really funny how we even can take something like that and now we want to make it, good or bad. Some of my research in my PhD program just has been on culture and how culture affects outcomes of African Americans in specific. Not that it doesn't affect other groups, but I know that as an African American, I've definitely seen it in the culture where it has negative influences. And so I think sometimes if we would do as much work on our spiritual health as we do on looking good on the outside, I think that one would mirror the other.
And what's some advice you would give a young woman or a woman? Because I thought that when you got older, things just, you just knew certain things. And as I'm getting older, I'll be 37 next week. I realize that there's a lot of older women out there too that are very, very insecure with themselves, and I can tell in the actions and things that they say. But if someone was to come to you and just say, "Hey, I just don't feel good about myself," what is some advice that you would? Well, you did just say a few things, but if there's someone that's really having to cry out for help more than just loving who you are, what are some things that you can maybe help with, or some things that they can expect on Saturday that will help them understand that they're beautiful as God has created them?
One of the things when we started planning Shatter, we embarked on a 30-day journey to building a positive self-image. And so
Mm.
every day for the past, I believe we're on day 22, for the past 22 days, we have been posting a tip on how to build a positive self-image. Some of my favorites, though, are finding life scriptures in the Bible and
Yes.
declaring those scriptures over yourself. One of the things that we'll do on Saturday, a little treat for the ladies, is we have a love letter that's been written to each of them. And so every lady that has been registered for the seminar, there's a love letter there. And there are certain promises in that love letter that they can declare.
Wow.
And so that's one thing that we gave as a tip this month. One of the other things was to not ignore your weaknesses, but we took one day in this challenge and we wrote down everything that we did right and we wrote down everything we did wrong and realized that everything you did right way outweighed the things that you did wrong. And so we started to celebrate the things that we are doing right. And that, and married to, the scriptures and declaring those over your life, are some of the simple things that you can do to build that positive self-image each day.
Wow, I need to be talking to you because I'm working on an entrepreneur conference. I just signed some paperwork today to lock down the hotel where we'll be. And I've been thinking about some great things to help encourage. I want this to be a little different than what everybody else is doing, but that encouragement,
Yeah.
that love letter, I think is excellent because we all need some type of motivation to let us know that it's going to be okay. So I think that is so awesome. I wrote it down. That is absolutely awesome. I want to give you time to talk a little bit about your church. I know someone that goes there. He was in my play, and I realized since he had been going there even up to today, just watching and seeing some of your members different places, you guys don't just stay within your four walls. You guys actually go out and do some outreach, and I absolutely love it. So I want you just to talk about some things that you're doing in your church and how people can find you so that way they can get involved because you guys are definitely a church on the move. You guys are doing things, again, like I said, that I don't see too many other people doing this, and I just think it's awesome. And you have the young people in mind, and they're out there on fire. And I've experienced this personally. This is not from somebody that told me. This is things that I've seen. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Okay. When we started Kingdom Culture, we got the name Kingdom Culture. Number one, we sometimes got confused with Kingdom Hall, but church. But really, God came to bring his kingdom here. And so the whole idea of kingdom culture is to infuse the culture of the kingdom of God into the culture of today and what we live in. And so it's not just about the church because a church doesn't make up the culture of a place. It's about the education system. It's about the political system in that place. It's about everything about how you live. And so we kind of consider Sunday mornings where we go to get our marching orders. And we feel like the real work begins when we leave church. And
Right.
so when we leave church, it's our job to impact people. Funny thing is, we're in a City Takers Challenge right now. So we have a 30-day calendar. And every day on there, we are stretching ourselves, stepping out of the box, and doing something in our community. On Thursday, we were challenged with making a sign that says, "You are valuable." And we went out in different places, and we didn't go together. Everybody kind of did it on their own. We went different places in public, and we held that sign that said, "You are valuable." I
Uh-huh.
mean, the response was great from people honking to crying, managers asking us to step inside their store, people taking
Wow.
pictures, and they just, I don't know how many times a person really hears those words in a week, in a month, in their lifetime. Just you are valuable. It doesn't matter if your mistakes, doesn't matter any of that stuff. So the City Takers Challenge is one of the ways we do that. But we also really into outreach. We're so excited about our latest outreach, which is called Knapsack. As an educator, I've recently witnessed, and really in all of my 11 years, students who come to school very hungry. I have students who literally steal from the lunchroom. They steal breakfast, they steal lunch because they are hungry. And so, how can I reprimand them for something that they're due, for something that they're owed, which is simply food? And so, our church has adopted a school in Highland, California, and we do what we call a knapsack program. So, every Friday, we send home a backpack full of food. And right now, we have 22 families. We send them home a backpack and then the backpack comes back on Monday. It's empty, and that's great because we want them to eat the food. And our church comes and we pick them up on Wednesdays, and then we fill them again. And so
Wow.
that's our newest project, but
Mhm.
we have a heart for the community. And so oftentimes it's really funny, but the biggest complaint about Kingdom Culture is you guys make us do so much. The thing about it though is that if we watch the life of Jesus, he
Yeah.
never stopped. He went to weddings and was doing ministry. He was in the streets doing ministry. You can sit down to dinner with Jesus and it not be ministry. And so I think that we kind of have to shift from living our life and trying to fit the kingdom of God in to living in the kingdom of God and trying to fit all of those other things in. That's why it says seek ye first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness. And these other things, yeah, they'll be added onto you. And so kingdom culture, we believe in living a life that can be witnessed and sharing the love of Christ. Our main focus is sharing the love of Christ with people around us. So,
Wow, I think that's awesome. I love it. I absolutely love it. I believe that it's important that we step outside, and I like how you said how Sundays is basically you do your master planning and then you're back out because that's who needs this. It's not the ones that's already there, which yes, we do need to be fed, but we
yeah,
have to bring the people in, and that's what Jesus said. You know, we have to be fishers of men,
yeah,
and we get so stuck in this into the church building that we forget that there's people on the outside that want to come in, that needs to come in, and some of them don't know how or they don't feel accepted. So I think that's awesome.
yeah.
Awesome what you guys are doing. Well, before I let you go, again, talk again. Let people know about the conference on Saturday and what. Just sum it up again. What they can expect. And just FYI, there's a few people that are watching. If you have any questions before we go, you can type your question in. Otherwise, just go ahead and let us know just a little bit more.
Okay. So the seminar is called Shatter. It's a women's seminar. It's going to be happening at Kingdom Culture. It's downtown campus, and that's at 480 Fort Street. It is from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's a series of workshops geared towards building a positive self-image in women. We're going to be focusing on body wellness, mental wellness, and also spiritual wellness. It'll be ending with a wellness fair, and you'll have access to speak with some of the speakers and also get some of the products as follow-up. I have a bunch of treats planned for you, a full experience where you'll go away feeling exhilarated.
Wonderful, wonderful. And when are your church services?
Our church services, well, we meet in Highland, California on Sundays at 10 a.m. We meet in San Bernardino, California on Sundays at 12:30 p.m. That's for our late sleepers, and that one's in downtown San Bernardino. And then on Saturdays, we have 5 p.m. services in Pasadena, California. And that's our newest campus. That's our baby campus. And so they still are in pre-up experiences, which happen once a month.
Wow, busy, busy, busy.
And I love every minute of it. So if you want
I'm
to
sure.
you can go on to www.mykingdomculture.com.
Okay, well, I'll make sure I have all that information up. Thank you so much for being on the show. I think again this is an awesome event. Unfortunately, I can't make Saturday. My son plays football on Saturdays, so from September to November, anything that happens between 12 and 2, I have to give it up, or between actually 10 and 2 because of that. But I'm really excited. I'll be posting your information I continue to post it on my social media, and I'm really excited and so glad to see that there's people out there that love the people and that's concerned about their well-being, and this is something that reaches everybody, not just the church. This is everybody. So congratulations to what you're doing, and I know you guys are doing more. Feel free to send me information when your church is doing something. I would love to post it on my website. I would love to advertise it on all my social media pages and try to be there when I can.
Okay.
So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
When is your birthday?
October 24th.
All right, I'm the 21st.
All right, in a week. Happy birthday to you. All right. Well, for those that are watching, thank you so much for tuning in. You can also check me out at kamaspeaks.com. That's KAMA speaks.com for more great interviews. If you're looking for a speaker to speak on domestic violence or to speak on entrepreneurship, you can also email me at booking@kamaspeaks.com. Thank you so much. Continue to watch Kama Speaks. Continue to spread the word. And if you know someone that's great for the show, please make sure you send me their information or have them fill out the Contact Us form on Kama Speaks. And this month in October, every morning I get up about between 6 and 6:15, and I do a quick awareness about domestic violence some of my experiences and just some tips that I give. And also every Tuesday night, this is week 2, I'll be doing an online Bible study at 9 p.m. Uh, Pacific Standard Time. And this month, I'm talking about preparing for your husband or preparing for your king. And today we'll be talking about the virtuous woman. So thank you so much for tuning in. Subscribe to me, social media, Comma Speaks. Subscribe to my YouTube, which is for Sell by Comma, and thanks for watching.